Hey, how's it going? Thank you for tuning in to the Strongsville Sports Card Show. This is Andrew with Hall of Framers, and I have a special guest here today, Mr. Doug West.
Hey, Andrew.
So thank you for coming by. Rumor is you're a fantastic artist. You deal in the paints. Is this true?
Yes. I deal with the paints. That's what I deal with.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming out to the show, and also you painted a piece for me, custom, and it turned out absolutely beautiful. Completely blown away with the work that you did and the vibrancy of the piece, and you really brought it together. So thank you so much for...
Yeah, it was a joy. It was a joy. I'm liking this show, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. The piece is interesting, actually, because you talked about commissioning me for that painting, and we worked together on that sketch like months, right?
Yeah.
Because that's my idea. You know, I've been a Hall of Fame artist for all the Hall of Fames for, 20, 30 years. And they all work differently, but it all begins with the sketch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where you work out your ideas. You know, you take your medication, you start painting.
Absolutely. Yeah, so why don't you do a little introduction, maybe a little life story, just in your own words, how you got started, what's it like being an artist, the life of an artist, and the stuff that it takes to kind of put your ideas and your manifestation on this canvas over here to the left. People want to look at this. This thing is off the charts. I mean, I'm still like kind of shook up from it. It's beautiful. So how'd you get started? What was it?
You know, it's interesting. So my dad was an artist and had three brothers. There's four of us. We're all artists and musicians. And he instilled in us that we're each different. We could do anything. So I had a God-given gift as an artist. My brothers, they had theirs too. But I remember being 6 years old, standing in front of my dad, sweating bullets, because he was German. He would critique this painting, okay, and I always wanted to get it right.
Yeah, of course.
Never did. You know, I always needed something. But interestingly, those, being raised that way, opened me up to listening to people about their ideas, because you get some great ideas and great critiques from people, yourself included. Yeah. If I could just say for a second that in the commission that I did, I was going to do Pete Rose batting, right?
Yeah,
we got Pete Rose.
You were, yeah.
And what do we do? You're like, well,
yeah. I wanted them sliding to the base because I thought that was the most unique part of his career is the Charlie Hustle, the front way slide, and just playing that kind of brand of baseball, just unique to his character. Yeah. So I thought it was a must. So you were able to like make those adjustments and you went with it, which was cool.
Yeah. And as I thought about it after, I'm like, what was I thinking? You know, Rose is a great batter for sure. He could bring in the runs, but I'm thinking he's got to be sliding in, and with his hair like that, that's Pete Rose 100%.
Absolutely.
But that's how I was raised. My dad was an artist, and he instilled in us to, take critiques, do your best work. Don't just get by. I mean, I say that to everybody. Do your best work, because even if it's a commission or whatever you're doing, someday it will mean something to you, even if it doesn't at the time.
Yeah.
It's, I called it legacy, but it's true.
Or mean something to someone else, like the market, or you might be able to stop the traveler and get them to ponder on what's around them, Yeah. So it's that unique expression. But you said something about listening, which I think is important. I think a lot of people just kind of respond ready to talk instead of listening.
Yeah.
In the universe. And I think that's very important. Like if you're in sales, I think some of the best salesmen just kind of sit back and you just kind of listen, you absorb. And that kind of can, if you carry that with you in business and in life, you can find some success by just tapping into the environment around you and being able to excel in that kind of way. I think that's been one of my keys. I hope to keep doing that.
You actually remind me to listen better.
Yeah.
I asked my agent once, I said, what's your job? What exactly do you do? He said, he calls me Maestro. Maestro? I'm a listener. That's all he said, and I'm thinking about that. Wow, man. you can really go far just listening. You know, actually,
Right.
right?
I have a fun exercise. You want? This is all just freestyle.
Am I going to have to
freestyle.
listen?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna say 1, and then you say 2,
Okay.
and I'll say 3. Then you start at 1.
Okay.
So the key is that, like, your brain is always trying to finish this pattern. But the
Okay.
key is if you just listen, you don't have to think about it. So 1,
2,
3.
4. Oh, yeah.
So 1,
2,
3,
1,
2,
3,
1,
2.
3.
Don't do this to me, man.
All right.
You're killing
But
me.
you get the idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
What else here? What else we got here? So when you go into a piece, what's kind of your process when you begin to paint something? Like you painted something right up here on the right side of the stage for people watching, left side on the camera right here. He painted this piece for me. What's the process, and how do you get into that rhythm and that thought process?
You know, this is a great question, Andrew. It's actually a great question. I have painted so many athletes that I am not familiar with at all. You know, I do all of them. I do the old-time players, different teams that I'm not familiar with at all. And what I'll do somehow, like a sponge, I'll absorb the person's energy that's talking to me. This is for real. And when I end up painting them, they go, wow, man, that's just the way I remember them. Yet I've never seen them play. I've never watched a video. I looked at a few photographs, but I did listen. You know, I vibed it, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that is, whatever the mystery that is. So that is really an interesting question.
There's a rumor, too, that you actually paint upside down. You paint your art upside down. So are you hanging from the ceiling when you're doing this?
Yes.
Or
I have a yoga bar. No, I don't hang from the ceiling. Hey, let me tell you how this started. So I was, again, my dad was my biggest critiquer. And when he passed away back in '84, he died young. I was on my own. I had no one to critique my work. My older brother kind of helped. But one day I looked at my canvas. I was walking around the floor, and it was upside down, and I realized, wait a second, I'm getting an entirely different perspective, completely fresh, by turning it upside down. And then I realized if I paint upside down, I've kind of unlocked my logical brain from my free brain, right? So I'm not thinking the eyeball goes here, the elbow is here, the eyeball and the elbow don't go together, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, the shapes.
The components, yeah. They don't go together. It gets a mix-up. Upside down, I'm looking at what I call lines of motion.
Okay.
And
yeah,
movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movement, I can capture the movement. And like you take a player like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders, when he runs, you know, he's got a certain lean, but if that lean is too much, he's falling over. If it's not enough, you look at it and you go, you know, it's not quite right. But if I turn it upside down, I have the freedom of that movement. I'm not thinking he's running. I'm just looking at shapes and angles. Isn't that cool?
It's
Works
different kind of brain or perspective for sure, and tapping into that kind of element.
My wife says I have a different kind of brain. So
Yeah.
monkey brain sometimes.
Of course. So I know that you did some stuff for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So maybe someone that's on their craft, that's younger, that is into art, or has a niche or hustle, or even wants to start a business. How do you take your work, and then how do you get it to that next tier, the next level, where the Pro Football Hall of Fame might look at some of your pieces and be like, wow, there's so much art and there's a lot of people in the market. How do you get to that kind of tier and that level to be able? What's that look like for someone maybe on the outside looking in that doesn't have the life experience yet?
I think you have to present your best work. If you've got 10 pieces, present 2 or 3 when you get that opportunity. And I think that you can't be too possessive of your work. You have to be open for them to tell you something you're not going to like or to reject you. So you have to be very open, look for an opportunity, and let your passion out. A lot of my work, or my sales, you could say, or meeting people, is passion. If I'm passionate about it, I'm not going to cover it up. So I would say, let your work have passion, let your words have passion, and be open to coming back. I think I told you earlier about a story where I had some fun doing that with a gallery owner.
Yes, I think people would love to hear that story if you're willing to share it.
Yeah, okay. It's about Pete Rose, so it's interesting. So I did a painting of Pete Rose. This is for Albert Scallione, who owns the largest art gallery. It's about a block long in Michigan. And he was really tough on me. He took me in the corner, and he just took me to town. But he didn't know how I was raised, so it didn't affect me.
Sure.
And I'm sure that he expected me to kind of leave with my tail between my legs. He had beat up the Pete Rose painting. He said, I got to change this and do this, and it's not right.
And this was this for the Baseball Hall of Fame?
This was for a gallery exhibit they were doing at Park West Galleries.
Okay.
So now I'm going to have a little fun. So I went home. I took about maybe a month, and I reworked everything in the painting. Everything that he saw, I altered. It was beautiful, okay? Still beautiful. And then what I did, just for fun, and you know that I like to do this, I had no appointment at the gallery, so I went up to the desk.
Just completely cold.
Just cold.
Okay.
Went up to the desk, and I said, is Albert in? And she said, he's in a meeting. And I said, well, this is Doug West. I've got a painting that we were talking about, the commissioning and printing. And, you know, I thought I would stop in and show him the painting. She said, well, hold on a second. So she calls him. He's in a meeting. And you go to one of these meetings, you get that big board table, you know, you got 12 people around the table, and he's in control. Albert he's a doer, you know. So I walk into the meeting, and the whole room goes quiet. Now in my heart, I'm having fun, okay? Because he knew I wasn't going to come back, but I'm back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I said, you know, we did the Pete Rose painting. He said, oh, yeah? And I said, let me show it to you. So I show it to him, completely silent. Then he says, John, get on the press. Can you scan this? Can you do this? Broke up the whole meeting, shook my hand. We got up. I'm telling you, man, Andrew, I went home. I was so happy and high.
Yeah.
It was like I was just floating. I said, you know, ain't nobody breaks into a meeting like that.
Yeah.
You can't get into a meeting like that. Okay?
Yeah.
And then surprise him that everything he requested, I did. That's the way you really build relationship. Now, I'm good friends with Albert.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know if we would have been if it weren't for that moment. He still gets a tickle out of that, you know.
You showed him that you were able to be open and flexible with your work, and then maybe indirectly you kind of call his bluff, you know. These are people that want it a certain way, and maybe you go into this piece like, I'm going to do it this way, and then you show up and you completely changed it. So that speaks to the character and the way to find success. Because, you know, art, to be able to make a living off of art and doing your passion, you're going to kind of be down a different stream or valley than, you know what I mean? So it's always going to be changing and evolving.
Oh, yeah. Hey, can I tell you, you got a minute? I can tell you one more story about the president of the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
You got a minute here?
Yeah.
So they had a special issue in 2008 at the Baseball Hall of Fame. I did the covers for about I don't know, 8 years or something. I did the induction program covers and the yearbook covers. So it was a special class. They were inducting the Negro League, and there was like 12 or 18 guys. And I think Bruce Suter was in the class. I had a great idea. I thought it was a great idea. For the cover, I was going to do the Negro League players in sepia tone, coming off the bench on the field, handing the baseball to Suter in color. So it was like an era piece. You'd go from, it kind of like Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Them coming off the bench, sepia colors, handing it to. So I told him this idea, and I'm passionate about it. I said, listen, man, this will be a masterpiece. And he said, no. Now, I can't own that because it's, you know, he's the boss. And he said, no, okay. Dale Petrosky, I love the guy. And Dale and I are friends to this day. So he said, no. I said, okay. He said, going to be a ton of media. It's going to be all over Cooperstown. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to make it a yearbook cover. I said, a yearbook cover? He said, a yearbook cover. I said, a yearbook cover? He said, yeah. I said, like, all equal? He goes, yeah. Everyone equal, same circle, you know, basically on the page. I said, before I answered this, I was thinking, I was just down in the archival room with the white gloves, the glass slides, living the Negro League players' history. You want me to do a yearbook cover? But I said, no problem. So my agent and I left. We're getting on the plane. He goes, well, Maestro, you're gonna do what Dale asked you to do? I said, no. He said, no. You just told him. I said, no. I said, I'm going to give him what he wants. But he didn't really know how to express it. I'm reading him, you know?
Sure, yeah.
When I finished the piece, and by the way, what I did was camaraderie, because the Negro League players, they lived on a bus. They went in the back doors of hotels. They had it tough. But one thing they had stronger than anyone was their brotherhood.
Absolutely.
Brotherhood, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that with you sometimes, right?
Yes, of course.
So brotherhood. So I painted brotherhood. And when he saw it, he held it up in front of my agent and I, and he said, this is exactly what I wanted. I swear to God, it's the truth. This is exactly what I wanted. And I said, see, man, I read what he wanted without him telling me. Isn't that cool?
How old were you in your career? How far along were you in that moment?
That was about, maybe 2004, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was a young pup.
Yeah. Probably a valuable lesson and trusting your heart's intuition and being able to put that on in life.
Yeah. And his risk.
And that's risky. That's risky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They wanted this piece, and you're like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I got you.
Oh, yeah. And paying you a lot of money, and he's telling you what he wants, and I'm going, nah, I'm not going to paint that.
You're like,
Now,
yeah, of course.
Isn't that I was being cocky or anything, but I just intuitively, like you said,
Yeah.
I knew this is going to be good.
It's a different kind of energy and perspective. Like, he has a lot riding on this piece and all the history and all the lives that it's going to touch. It's Cooperstown baseball. So there's a big element to that. But he's also not an artist in that kind of form. He might be more in a corporate kind of setting of like A, B, C, D. So
Yeah.
to be able to take all of that, again, it goes back to that listening. I think if you want to be great at something in sales, you just listen and you let the work speak through you like a vessel. And like, honestly, the painting you did for me, I'm completely blown away. It's even hard. I just want to look at it.
Yeah,
Just stare at it.
There's something special in that piece. My brother's an artist, and he was teaching me about dull colors against bright colors. If you put dull colors, let's say a background, against bright colors, the bright colors are brighter. So
Yeah.
I noticed your eyes when I showed it to Andrew. Instantly, his eyes lit up because the color is vivid, but it's not unnatural.
For a lack of better vocabulary, sweet.
Sweet.
That's me keeping it clean. We're not producing the show. Shout out Greenie Sports Cards for having us here today. No, it's wonderful. If I could ask you, have you had like a big maybe a setback as an artist or a failure, or did something happen that made you realign your work? Because I love the beautiful stories and success stories, and also trying to show the younger generation that you can do this kind of stuff if you just follow your intuition, your heart. But were there any moments in your career where you had it just set you back? Maybe there was failure.
Yeah, I've got one. And actually, I'll tell you what the painting was now. I'll tell you the painting. But I was in an exploratory mode, Andrew, and I was trying painting with blueberries, actual blueberries. I tried strawberries, blueberries. What else was I trying? Oh, egg yolk. Big on the egg yolk, baby. And I'm trying different stuff.
Breakfast at your house has to be fun.
Yeah,
just some brunch. We're going to go back up to Michigan after this. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my wife has to wash the dishes. She's like, what did you put in this thing?
Just chaos. He's like, it's art, baby.
Oh, yeah. I actually like to paint like that. I love to throw colors. Before I tell the story, my brother, the artist, he's very detailed. He doesn't get paint under his fingernails. And me, I paint on myself. I've gone to Kroger's before with paint all over me.
He has paint on his hands right now.
Yeah,
I noticed he had paint on his hands.
It's true. So I did a painting. I'm in my exploratory mode, and I thought, what if I took this Stan Musial and I used dish soap? So I was telling your wife earlier, I said, for 2 days, what am I thinking? I'm using watercolor. For 2 days, bubbles. It's all bubbles. It's like the Lawrence Welk show. Okay, bubbles, 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 bubbles.
Yeah.
And I said, well, probably in the future that's not a good idea. I'll stay away from the dish soap.
Yeah.
That was a disaster. But I'll tell you one other thing. When the economy collapsed in 2008, 9, all of my orders that came in wanted it for the commission for less money, which I understand, and more stuff. So I kind of backed off from art for about half a year, some of my art,
Yeah.
because they wanted, instead of, you have what, 5 poses in there? 4 or 5?
6.
6.
Well, there's duels as well, so there might be 8.
Okay, 8. Try 20. They come at you with 20, and I'm going, you have to, a painting has to breathe. Like Norman Rockwell, if you look at his work, it breathes. There's a lot of negative space, a lot of air.
Mm-hmm.
But the air, the empty space, and the movement or the poses work together in harmony. If you just fill it with images, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's like, a gumball machine. It's just full of stuff.
Yeah, it may be cluttered and just too much. Because I think one of the important things, and I'm by no means an artist. I failed art class, believe it or not. But I think you want to leave space in there for the individual to draw a perspective from it. Like their own, you lead them. You might pose a question or an idea, but it's really up to interpretation. And I think that's probably the beautiful thing with your art. It's unique in that kind of sense. You allow the person
It's true.
to be a part of the story. And I think that's some of the most success that you can have in business, life, relationships.
Well, you haven't mentioned it, but you said you failed art class. But I'm telling you, brother, you wear a hat like that, you're not failing no art class, okay? It's looking good on you, and that's got art all over it, baby.
Thank you. Shout out Zoomies. Maybe they'll send us a check in the mail. You never know. That's just me having fun. So how I got to imagine when you're doing all these projects, how long did it take to get your profile of art down? Because you're kind of sporadic maybe in a lot of ways, or like how many drawings or paintings are there until you're like, do you just have a whole studio of old art somewhere, your first renditions and your first sketches, and then how long does that take to you like, okay, this is, was it years? Were you painting for years, or
Well, now that's an interesting question too. It's actually interesting because no, I don't have archives of all my old work, but I run across it, and what's interesting is the painting is never the way I remembered it, ever. It's really interesting.
It's like an album. It's like listening. You can go back and listen to a vinyl, and you'll hear different sounds and percussions, and like listen to Dark Side of the Moon or any of the great albums, and depending on your mood and attitude or how you woke up that day, it might be different expression.
Yeah, actually, that you've actually described it better than I was thinking. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It isn't that I don't like it; it's that I see it differently. The beauty, I would say. I'm not saying everything I do is great. I try my best, but I see the beauty of it differently. I interpret it differently, almost like I'm a different person.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. I want to say something else. I relate to an artist. I'm nothing like him. Okay, he's a fantasy artist. His name is Frank Frazetta. Was Frank Frazetta. Frazetta was one of the greatest comic book artists of all time. His line work, just incredible anatomy. Just incredible 50s and 60s, 50s really. He switched to painting. All his fellow artists said the same thing: don't do it. Discouraged him. But he had something in here, and he did it and created the most iconic fantasy art. They used to sell 1 million extra copies of books because of Frank Frazetta's work. He's the first painter to do Conan the Barbarian. The cover sold for $1 million. That cover. You look at the Arnold
nice
Schwarzenegger.
check.
Yeah, that is a nice check. Maybe I should start painting Conan the Barbarian. But he had that in his work. He had all those elements: the negative space, the changing careers. So for me, when I went from watercolor, strictly watercolor, to acrylic, an entirely different medium, I had so many people telling me I couldn't do it. I'm like, if you have it in you, try it.
Yeah, I think it's good to listen to feedback, but also always trust your instinct and your inner dialogue in anything that you do. Because if you don't have skin in the game, so to speak, then it doesn't matter. And if you want to express or start a business or whatever it might be, whatever is your calling, there's something within to tap into. I think that's important.
And I'd say actually follow it, because we put restrictions on ourselves. I say no restrictions. Think about it, but follow it purely.
Yeah.
There's something pure, man. If it comes from your soul, whatever it is. I actually know an auto mechanic, but when he works on cars, the car just seems to run better and everything. But he's pure about it. It's his passion.
Yeah.
I know that's a strange thing to say.
No,
but
I
it's
think
true.
putting that energy into your work speaks volume, and that will have a positive effect.
Yeah, like a relationship in a way. You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Two people, you can build more with two people than you can with one person.
Right.
It has a dynamic of its own, energy.
I have two more questions for you. How much has the game changed? Like, you started in the 1980s, roughly?
1980.
1980s. It is 2026, so let's do that for 46. Is that
Yeah,
46
a lot of
years?
years.
Yeah, a few decades.
Thanks, Andrew.
How much has the game changed from then till today? Because there's a lot of digital space now. So what's that journey been like?
It's changed a lot. So 1980, I walked into a sports card show with my dad. There was no art. And he said, son, you can make a living doing this. As good as you are at portraits. I said, I don't know that much about sports. He said, I'll teach you. So it was a big, vast, open, you can do anything. But then what's come, certainly more recently in the last 10 or 20 years, is the copycats. There's a formula, and everybody's doing it. I'm always looking for, not looking to make something different, but looking to find something different. So a lot. Some guys stand out. There's some artists that really stand out, but a lot of them, or some of them, it's tough to tell the difference. So I say, without really trying, find yourself in your work and make it you.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. And then probably the last question for me is, what would you say to young people that might be interested in pursuing their art career or music or whatever it might be? Because kind of look around today. I mean, I'm 31, and I don't see a lot of leaders around in our country anymore. It's it's tough.
Yeah.
So in all the profession and a lot of professions and things like that, different decades, there's a lot of things going on, but there were notable men. So what would you say to younger people that might be interested in pursuing this, and what's your message?
Well, let me tell you my regret. I think everything would have kicked off a lot sooner, and maybe differently, if I would have associated with different people. In other words, artists should associate with artists or associate with people that are successful. That's really the key. Kind of befriend people that are successful. Watch how they do it. Ask them to help you, and don't think you're a star going out on your own. That's true. You got to have confidence, but put yourself in places and positions and be willing to turn in a different direction. Don't be too quick to shut the door. Listen, baby, what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It is listening, and it's putting yourself out there. Like as an artist, I have two sides. One side is kind of, when I'm painting, it's quiet. I'm very quiet. And then when I'm out in the crowd, or if I'm doing an art show or a presentation, I'm outgoing. I'm very outgoing. So
Yeah.
you got to be outgoing. Put yourself out there and see what you find.
Yeah,
See
get
what
out of your comfort zone and just give it a shot.
Get out of your comfort zone.
You gotta shoot your shot.
Yeah, I'm in, baby.
Cool.
I'm in.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the piece. I wanted a reflection of Ohio. We're out in Berea, and we're in the historic district, and there's this, I don't even know the footage of it, 40, 60, 80, 100 feet. It's huge, so we're going to scan this, and this is going to be on the face of the building in Berea. And so there's Lou Groza, who's, local time, Berea, obviously that's huge. Hanford Dixon, personal friend, top dog. Go Browns, just barking, getting loud. The story of Jesse Owens being in Columbus and doing the Olympics in Germany, racing when he wasn't supposed to be there and winning. I love that. Brandon Hawkins, the all-time leading scorer that's Toledo Walleye, a personal friend of mine. I don't think anyone's going to beat that record anytime soon. And we have Pete Rose, obviously. And then doing Shaq in a Cavs jersey, just larger than life, right? So I think it's going to be beautiful. I think it's going to be a great addition to what we were doing out in Berea. And if people want to see more of your work or learn more about you, and if you do commissions, go ahead and feel free to plug yourself. And
Yeah, I've got a website, dougwest.studio. Dougwest.studio. It can be contacted through there. You can look at a portfolio of my work and send me hate mail, send me love mail, okay? But
everything in between.
I was going to say, Andrew, so the painting that I did for you, you're going to reproduce that on the outside of your Hall of Famers,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So here's my warning. I got a prediction coming in. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Here's my warning. I see many people in lawn chairs sitting outside your store just staring at my
I know.
painting.
I was saying that I'm not going to get much work done anymore. Just be looking at that thing. I love it.
And they're going to go,
It's
you know,
awesome.
I know Shaq is big, but man, he's so big.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the face of the building is something to come see and explore, and I think it's going to be very unique, especially in Berea. So,
Yeah, I love the stuff you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much, man.
I'm going to love that storefront.
Yes, thank you so
Okay,
much.
brother. I enjoyed it, man.
Shout out Greenie Sports Cards and the Strongsville Sports Card Collectible Convention here in Independence at the Field House. Beautiful facility, great dealers, a lot of fun, kids finding their passion, very unique time. Such an honor and a blessing to be a part of the show. So looking forward to next year. Thank you guys so much.
Hey,
Yo, yeah.
yeah. Enjoyed it, man. Enjoyed it. That was good. I was going to tell him one more thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one more thing.
Okay. We're back.
Just one more thing. So nobody knows this. For 40 years, nobody knows this. So I did a card set. I read all the mail just for fun. This is for fun for me. And I read a lot of the mail because they say, who is the mystery artist? Turns out to be me. But I never signed a piece, okay? So if you go into the non-sport card market, I've never revealed it. I just read an article about this. Who's the artist? I'm thinking it's me. If you go into the non-sport card market, there's a set called Terrorist Attack.
Okay.
It's a non-sport card set. It's all fantasy art about what could happen and things like that. And they're really interesting cards. And I used models and all kinds of things. I was commissioned to do this secretly and quietly. So that non-sport card set is out there, and it's going up in price. And still nobody knows, except for Andrew, that I am the secret artist.
Yeah, now everyone tuning in. Yeah.
That's the guy? That's the guy.
Very interesting.
Okay.
We could probably fill up hours, and I'm going to invite you back because
Love to come.
just more questions. I love it. Thank you guys so much.
Love to come. Thank you, guys.